I met Hema when I was 18. We were wingies in BITS Pilani, our undergraduate school. Some of you might not know what a wingie is. A wing is a set of rooms that share a corridor, and a wingie is a person who you share that corridor with. A wingie is also a person who you share wings with as you fly, or a person you share a parachute with should you fall. Hema was my parachute wingie. Your typical college kids, we shared stories in the wee hours of the night, talked about our lives, our crushes, our aspirations, and for some of us, our frustrations. The one word that comes to my mind for Hema is effortless grace. Her friendship needed no public acknowledgement or constant reassurances. Hema was academically brilliant and diligent. Unlike most other such gifted people, she was at ease with her abilities and very comfortable in her skin. I can't go into any moment with her, so I'll pick random moments to relive some of the best times we spent together. And this is just a random list. Many impromptu Sunday mornings having dosas together, my bridal shower with 4 close friends, Bharatnatyam dance at Mithali, one of the many cultural shows we put together in BITS, climbing up to the Stanford dish close by on a random afternoon, laughing over silly jokes on SMS while Hema was getting her treatment. Hema wishes Punacha, my husband, on his birthday, demands to know why he hasn't added her on Facebook. Convincing me not to move to India, which we did for a while, stressing over our March birthday families and coordinating birthday parties, having lunches together on mine and her birthdays. Hema and my mother share a birthday. Separately finding out we are pregnant on my birthday after having lunch together. We announced my pregnancy at a party, and Hema and Atul held back their news. Hema and Atul inviting us to lunch the next weekend to tell us about their baby. Hema delivers Navya, and I go to the hospital to visit her at Stanford with severe Braxton Hicks contractions. Hema falling sick in Pilani, and my mother, who was visiting, took care of her. Hema going for early morning hikes, calling me up and pushing me to join her. I wanted to sleep in. Hema, I, Sona, and a few of our wingies, Sona's here, talking till the wee hours of the morning in Pilani. The night before a test, Hema leaving her class notes outside her window after she goes to bed. Many of us take turns to use her notes. Hema convincing me not to cut my hair short, and I haven't since. Such lovely moments, such treasured memories. Thank you, and love you, Hema.
Thank you, Yashika. Nagina Singh, please. And Uma Misha is next.
Hi, my name is Nagina Singh, and I have been asked to write a speech for Hema Auntie. When I was asked by Benali to write a speech, I knew I'd have no trouble talking about Hema Auntie, as she is one of my most favorite people. The first time I met Hema Auntie was when I was about 5 years old at the kindergarten picnic event. Even though I don't quite remember the details of this meeting, over time I got a lot of chances to meet Hema Auntie at school. Every time I saw her, I would jump up onto her and she would spin me around. This happened a lot. I first found out Hema Auntie had cancer when I was in 2nd grade. I was really sad because Hema Auntie and I had a special bond. I was afraid that this bond would go away. I found this out when Miss Mehta, my 2nd grade teacher, had our whole class write notes to Hema Auntie. I wrote a really long one, and Hema Auntie sent me back a thank you note, which made me feel very special. I had a lot of first times with Hema Auntie. Like the first time I went to Chipotle was with her. In 2nd grade, when we had our Mr. Popper's penguin party, Hema Auntie had made dokla. This was the first time I had ever eaten dokla, and once I tried it, I knew I immediately loved it. I'm guessing that Hema Auntie knew I loved it because whenever I showed up to her house, which was a lot, there was always dokla waiting for me. Another first was spending time at the Dandiya Dance Festival and learning how to dance with the sticks. The first time I was introduced to this was when Hema Auntie invited my family and me to join her family at the Dandiya Festival. She taught me how to dance, and it was super, super fun. There's also the first and last time I went to a farmer's market. Manali, Navya, Kismet, Hema, Auntie, and I went to the farmer's market together. We bought all these ingredients to make food for the parents. It was a huge success. I also especially enjoyed our trip to Safari West, where we got to see a lot of cool animals. After our long day, we were in our hotel room playing gestures. I was the worst at this game, and I mean the worst, since I constantly lost. One time, I stormed out of the room because I lost. Then Hema Auntie, not my mom, but Hema Auntie, followed me out and said, "No need to cry, it's just a game." That really calmed me down. I don't know why. But ever since then, when I'm being competitive and freaking out, I try to remember that it's just a game. I'm not saying that it always works, but at least I try. Hema Auntie is not just smart, but she was creative too. For Halloween one year, I was mustard, Manali was ketchup, and Ria was mayonnaise. Hema Auntie made the most creative and amazing labels for the bottles. We really looked like ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise. She also made a lid hat, where it was the cap of a mustard bottle in hat form. Hema Auntie was the gentlest person I have ever known. She had such a sweet voice that I loved to hear. Hema Auntie was super persistent, and just being around her made everything feel perfect, like there was no worries in the world. I love Hema Auntie in a way that I can't describe. I will never, ever forget her and the fun times I've had with her. I love you, Hema Auntie. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagina. That was very beautiful. Uma Misha, please.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Uma Misha. I am Manali's classmate and close friend. Today, we are celebrating all of Ms. Kapadia's many achievements. I would like to talk about her achievement in raising two amazing daughters. One thing that I would always hear my mom talk about Ms. Kapadia was that she wanted to be there to support and teach her children to be independent, strong people. I think she did a good job in doing that. Manali is such an amazing person, as well as Navya. Their mother has brought them up to be kind, caring, and even have a sense of humor. Manali, out of all people, is someone you can go to talk to if you need some advice. She's independent and passionate in what she does, tackling obstacles that stand in her way. In this, she is like her mother. She's one of my best friends. Miss Kapadia would always come to see Manali in our Halloween parade and homeroom parties, even when times were rough for her. She was able to put a smile on anyone's face, especially mine. I also know that she was a trooper. Last year, my mom had breast cancer, and having her going through that treatment for 5 or 6 months was terrible. Miss Kapadia was able to push through that for a decade, a very difficult task, which shows her love for her family. She was a big help for my mom during cancer. She would give her tips about how to make chemo a little easier, tell her things to do and things to avoid. Miss Kapadia went all too soon. Her cheerful attitude was never dimmed, and her hopes were always high. The world needs more people like Miss Kapadia, who are optimistic, strong, and loving. I will miss her. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to offer some open mic time. If there's anybody that would like to share their memories of Hema, they can do so at this time. And those who would like to, if you could please just line up on this side of the audience, that'd be appreciated. Please do give your name and your relationship with Hema. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Neil. I was Hema's nephew. I never called my aunt Hema. I never called her auntie either, or Foi, which is the Gujarati word for our relationship. She was Ducky Buddy. I decided this when I was 2 years old. She was Ducky Buddy, my uncle was Atul Buddy, and I became the Buddy Master. Ducky Buddy was an integral part of my childhood. She gave me one of my first toys. It was a plush Dalmatian that hung over my crib, and it played music when I pulled it. She introduced me to the concept of eating blueberry muffins at breakfast, She introduced me to She flew to Michigan when my father fractured his leg, and she held me when I broke down on seeing him in his hospital bed. I spent my 5th birthday at her house had a cake which had a train on it, and it was edible, which was crazy. I looked forward to seeing my capital B buddies as the same way any other kid might look forward to Christmas. One night, when I was 7 years old, my parents called the buddies. I was brushing my teeth when this happened, and when my mother asked me if I wanted to talk, I said yes, because I wasn't going to pass up on the opportunity to talk to her on the account of dental hygiene. I talked to her about my bubblegum flavored toothpaste, and she gave me advice on taking care of my teeth. 2 months ago, I started my first job out of college. She texted me when she learned about it, and she told me to have an open mind, work hard, and be patient. And she told me that she was proud of me, which was particularly special. This is the kind of person Ducky Buddy was. She could just as easily give advice to a 7-year-old about bubblegum toothpaste and brushing as she could to a 22-year-old starting his first job. Ducky Buddy was one of the happiest, most lively people I have ever met. At some level, I still can't really believe she's gone. I can all too easily recall how she would call me Buddy, and I can remember her laugh any day of the week. I'm going to miss her, but we will always be buddies. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Sona Mahavni, and I'm a friend of Hema's. We first met in 1988 as excited and scared freshmen at BITS Pilani and spent 4 very formative and eventful years together. Some of our friends are here today from that time. Our friendship endured even afterwards, and I was very fortunate to continue to be close to her as we settled down in the same corner of the world. Now, back in school, she was, of course, way smarter than most of us, as all of you have attested to, and she got much better grades too. But what was amazing was the ease with which she did it. She was involved in a lot of activities at Pilani, like dances and fashion shows, and yet somehow she managed to get her studying in by like 10 p.m. and go to bed. And that's when some of us lesser folks would grab her notes that she would so generously leave outside her door and start devouring the material. And Yashika said the same thing too. I couldn't control myself laughing at those memories, and you know, so many of us would just wait for that. Hema's notes, now we're gonna pass the test. I remember studying for the GRE with her, and what was really entertaining was to see her work on the vocab list. She had a facial expression or a hand gesture associated with all the words that initially gave her trouble. And needless to say, she mastered the list with ease in the end. But I can still see her rolling her big round eyes at disdain and crinkling up her little nose at putrid, for example. As we grew up and I got to know her better, I was amazed at how Hema could at once be a mischievous little girl, being the baby of her family, as well as a mature Stanford PhD and working mom all at the same time. She shared many of the most important events of my life with me. I remember the relief I felt when she came to my wedding reception in Fremont, where I was surrounded by in-laws, and she was the only friend I had. I also remember Hema and Atul coming to my daughter's first birthday party after driving in a severe storm and rain for 3 or 4 hours. As recently as a few weeks back, she was still playing Words with Friends with me. I'm sure she was with a lot of you also. And she beat me hollow every time, of course. As it happens, I still have an unfinished game with her open on my phone even now. I have lots and lots of very fond memories of time spent with Hema, as I'm sure all of you do too. But when I think back about all of them, the one constant I see is her beautiful smile and her little girl giggle. Last year, I wanted to swing by on her birthday, and even though it was a very, very hard day for her, she let us in and shared her last birthday with us. I can't even begin to imagine what she went through during all the rough patches over the years, but she carried on like a true soldier and did so with a smile on her face. I remember her saying to me one time, "That was funny, Sona, but I can't laugh because I have a few broken ribs." And then she proceeded to laugh anyway. They say inspiration is all around you and you just have to see it. Well, for me, that inspiration is Hema. I know that if I ever have to go through even a fraction of what she endured, I will stand up and fight in her honor. I started out by introducing myself as Hema's friend, but in the end, she was really much, much more of a friend to me than I could ever be to her. Her memories will always be cherished, and I look forward to seeing her live on and her lovely daughters, Navya and Minali. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bharti Arson, and I live next door to the Kapadia family. I'm a junior at Archbishop Midi right now, and being able to attend Midi was a huge dream of mine back in middle school, and Hemanti played an integral role in helping me achieve this dream. Hemanti was a lot of things. She was a loving mother, a supportive wife, a helpful neighbor, and an incredibly insightful writer. I was lucky enough to live next door to her and witness these qualities as she helped me with my high school application essays. I can still vividly recall that day in 2012, because that's the day I witnessed the relationship between Hemanti and Atul Uncle. My parents, Durai and Raji, had told me that they both went to Stanford, so I thought, oh wow, they're both so smart, so they're perfect for each other. But no, that's not the only reason why they're perfect for each other. I think we can all agree that Hemanti was the only woman that can push his buttons as much as he pushed hers. After Atul Uncle would edit my essay, Hemanti would go back and edit his edits. Any other ordinary woman would just go with the flow. She wouldn't get angry or challenge him to be better. But Hemanti wasn't any ordinary woman. She was something else. Sorry. She could talk about controversial topics even though her opinions differed from his. She wouldn't let him get away with slacking on his talents because she saw great potential in him. She pushed him every day not to be better, but to be the best. They constantly tried to outsmart each other, whether it was about big life decisions or even simple things like choosing where to go for dinner. I think something that everyone should know about Hemanti was that she was able to see things in people that nobody else could. She saw talents in you that you may not even realize that you had. She saw my essay as perceptive when I saw it as thoughtless. She saw my brother as the life of the party when I saw him as the uninvited guest. She saw my parents as protective when I saw them as strict. I wish we could all see the world through her eyes, because maybe then we can be the strong, confident, smart, and beautiful people that she saw us as. Speaking of beautiful, Hemanti was one gorgeous woman. I know many of you weren't able to see her in her last days, but I had the privilege of visiting her 2 days before her passing. She was hooked to the oxygen tank, and her clothes were hanging on to her small frame. But trust me when I say this, even in such desperate times, she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She took my hand in hers, and I've never felt something so fragile. Her thin eyebrows were arching over her smiling face, and her large round eyes seemed so happy to see me. We had such a good conversation about friends, school, my summer job, and it once again reminded me that Hemanti wasn't just beautiful on the outside, but she was beautiful on the inside as well. In fact, my brother used to always say, "Hey, beautiful, stay beautiful." And she sure did stay beautiful. You know, ever since I found out about her illness to the day she passed away, I was always most concerned about the family she would leave behind. I watched my mother braid my hair, and I thought about Navya and Manali. I saw my mom ask my dad how his day at work went, and I thought about Atul Uncle. So, on the behalf of my entire family, I want you guys to know that we'll always be here for you. Atul Uncle, if you ever need to talk about your day, my dad is always here to talk about the economy or watch a cricket game. Navi and Manali, if you ever want your hair braided, my mom is an expert on the French braid. And if you ever need someone to remind you how confident, strong, smart, and beautiful you are, I promise to be here and be someone you can look up to. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aditya, and I'm a family friend of the Kapadias. Himai. That's how I started to refer to her as soon as I could start speaking. Himai soon changed to Hema, and it's been Hema ever since. She's technically my auntie, because my dad and Atul uncle have been friends for over 40 years, but Hema never became Hema auntie. Hema is my friend, my confidant at times, someone who knew what I was thinking, and someone who encouraged and unconditionally believed in me. Unbeknownst to me, though, she put on the auntie cloak at times and would keep tabs on my social life in accordance with my mom. A lot of the time, she would pointedly inquire about my female friends posting on my Facebook, making sure that my mom knew what was up with my social life as well. Although my mom had to deal with these inquiries, Hema made me believe that I was special, as she only kept that between herself and my mother. I also did come under direct scanning for academics as well. She cared deeply about education, as we all know, and she would motivate me to do better myself every time, inside of school and outside as well. She was a reassuring presence in my life and all my life milestones, right from being the first one to visit me after I was born, to the naming ceremony 6 days afterwards, or to my thread ceremony last year in August. She played the role of a paternal aunt in these events, and she was marked by her iconic, beautiful red sari. Just as she was able to instill these positive contributions into my life, I had the amazing opportunity to reciprocate these contributions and play a part in her life as well. We shared a half-year birthday. I was born on March 16th, her September 16th, and just like Manali, and I was able to witness her great graduation from Stanford. I am told I'm her first guinea pig and first child she ever babysitted, and turns out that guinea pig experiment was a success, as we can see in the manifestation of Navya and Manali. Just like the babysitting she did to me, everything she did as her life passed on was amazing as well. Her power, her determination, her strength in the face of adversities, her zest for taking on new things, her intrinsic nature to care for others, and her contagious smile will be forever an inspiration to all of us. When I last met Hema in January, she leaned in and whispered into my ear just as I was leaving. She told me, "You will do great things." And I am honored that I was able to be told this by the greatest woman I have ever known. Now, before I conclude, I would just like to say, as the years go by, 10 years, 15 years, the emotions Hema has made us feel of happiness, courage, excitement, and kindness will far transcend the bounds of time and will be remembered forever. So long, Hema, from the entire Mamtora family. I will do my best to live up to what you saw in me. I miss you, and I will always love you. Thank you.
My name is Chandrasekhar Joshi. I had the privilege of working closely with Hema. I came to know Hema first when she was a PhD student at Stanford. And she came to work for us at SGI MIPS during the summer of 1997. We were designing next generation microprocessor at MIPS. This was a very complex, state-of-the-art project, and she wanted to learn and contribute in every aspect of it. I got her engaged in the project as being part of the design team that was handling one of the most complex design tasks. I would give her small blocks, and she would finish them ahead of the time. The most memorable part of that experience was that when she would finish the task, she would just stop by my office, and she had that engaging smile, almost close to a laugh, that all of us have come to know about it. And she would enter my office, and there was such a wonderful break from the intense schedule pressure that we actually had. She would just come into the office, and over the period of time, I came to know that when she came into the office with that almost laugh-like smile, I knew that she had finished her tasks and she wanted to do some more. She was so brilliant that I decided after that internship experience that every single part of my new project or my new adventure, I would part her to be part of my team. I knew she was smart because she came from Stanford, but I know now, today, why she was brilliant, because she aced that EWE 371 class. In my first startup at Stratum One, we wanted her to join as soon as PhD was over, but she was not able to join us. But I was able to hire her again back in Cisco after she graduated her PhD work. And she came to work with us on designing one of the first most complex ASICs, the first 10 gigabit ASIC that Cisco ever produced. She was part of that design team. And her brilliance, her teamwork, she won the heart of the entire design team. And so that part of her brilliance, teamwork, but she was also, as most of you have talked about today, that she was a complete person. Later on, during my daughter's solo recital on her Rengetram, she gave my daughter a very thoughtful present. It was titled Wisdom, 365 Thoughts from the Indian Masters. It combines the Vedic and ancient philosophies and culture summarized in 365 separate verses and blended with different landscapes and traditions of all of India. She possessed a rich Indian heritage, and sharing that with my teenage daughter was a wonderful gift that all of us will never forget. She truly was a very intelligent, warm, and compassionate person. Her presence will always be with us, through Atul, through Navya, and through Manali. God bless her soul. Thank you.